Hi, and welcome to another episode of R&R. I am your host, DKS3A. And last week, we talked about hacking. Everybody's experienced it at one point or another. It's those little douchebags online that make the game less fun for everybody else because they hack the game to give themselves an edge. And it's just gotten bad. This week, we're going to go into a little bit more of a personal subject. And we're going to be talking about the media blaming violent video games for, for school shootings and stuff like that. And it started off with Columbine. I mean, I know there was more school shootings, but the big one that I remember, the first one, big one I remember is Columbine. And after everything happened, the media couldn't understand what was going on. And after doing a little bit of research, they found out that the guys listened to, Marilyn Manson. I mean, I listened to a little Marilyn Manson, but and played Doom and made your own custom levels and stuff like that. So they started immediately blaming violent video games. Okay. If you're 16, 17 years old, you should be old enough to be able to make your own decision and don't let violent video games impact you and stuff like that. And if it does impact you, you just don't need to play them. I mean, you're old enough to make that choice. But I mean, violent video games may be a factor in some things, but it's a very small, minute thing. I mean, and you have to realize, I mean, media and the news stations have to realize that violent video games are the only form of media out there that can affect people. I mean, they got violent video games. I mean, they got violent video games, but they got movies, TV shows, music, and all kinds of stuff. They just want to find something to hang their hat on, and it's the thing that they fucking seem to hang your hat on is violent video games all the fucking time. It doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, without even looking at the research, without even looking into the details and all kind of stuff, they just immediately hang their hat on, ooh, they played a violent video game, that's what happened to them. Fuck that. I mean, I play a lot of violent video games. I've played Doom, I've played Quake, I've played Mass Effect, I've played Call of Duty, and Duke Nukem and all kind of stuff, and I'm completely fine. I mean, and then there was the Virginia Tech massacre, and then most recently the people from that Connecticut school shooting, and especially the Connecticut school shooting. They were looking at the life of some of the people, and of the guy who did the shooting, and of course violent video games pop up. So of course they're going to point fingers at the video game industry and say, oh look, it's video games' fault. We need to start getting all the violent video games off the market, and to the point where people are starting to try to get violent video games off the market and stuff like that. It's just gotten to the point where it's just gotten ridiculous. And I don't know. It's a touchy subject. I know it is, but sorry about that. My roommate walked in. Yeah, I think he's getting ready for work. But anyway, it's a touchy subject, but it's not the only thing the media should hang their hat on. It's gotten to the point where Missouri was starting to trying to tax violent video games and trying to get them off the market, and people are trying to get people to bring their violent video games so they can destroy them. I don't know. It's a really fucked up, touchy situation, and personally, I wouldn't blame just video games. It was, I mean, like I said, there's a bunch of media. If you want to blame violent video games, blame violent movies, blame violent TV shows, blame everything else. Video games are not the only source of entertainment, folks. You can't just blame it on on video games. And I'm pretty sure if something else like this happens, the first thing you're going to look at is, they're not even looking. The thing is, they're not even fucking looking at the details. I mean, they looked it up and they saw something that, oh look, he played Duke Nukem. Oh look, he played Modern Warfare. Oh look, he played this. I mean, I know Modern Warfare is not a violent game. I'm just shown an example. He played Duke Nukem, he played Doom, he played Quake, he played this, he played that. Oh, look, violent video games. Without really truly looking into the life of the person. Maybe he had a mental problem, or maybe he had some kind of dysfunctionality. Maybe he had a broken home. Maybe he watched a few violent movies. I mean, they don't need to fucking just continue hanging their hat on fucking video games just because it's the easy way out. So, I could go on and on for this, but I think y'all get the general gist of where I'm going with it. The media just needs to fucking get the thumbs out of their ass and stop blaming video games and stop blaming everything on video games that go wrong in this world. I'm fucking surprised they didn't fucking 9/11 that happened. Oh look, they played violent video games. I mean, I wouldn't put it past them, but yeah, they just need to stop getting their thumbs out our ass, start getting their thumbs out our ass, and start actually doing the research and details of something tragic that happens, instead of just blaming the first thing that they see, because it's given the video game industry a bad name, and us as gamers, I don't know, it's just kind of fucked up that they're blaming it on something that I like to do as a hobby and stuff like that. Anyway, last week I asked what is better, Super Nintendo or Sega Genesis, and for the consensus, it was mostly Super Nintendo. I saw one or two Sega Genesis, and I saw a couple Sega Master Systems that wasn't on the list, but I'll accept it. But for the most part, it was Super Nintendo. And for me, I liked them both. I've had both of them growing up, but for me, it was Super Nintendo, Final Fantasy VI, Super Mario World, Earthbound, Donkey Kong Country series. There's nothing like Final Fantasy. I mean, Super Nintendo. I definitely was a Super Nintendo guy. I mean, don't get me wrong, Sega had some good games. Altered Beast, Sonic the Hedgehog, Comic Zone, Phantasy Star. But for overall, I enjoyed the Super Nintendo more. Alright, and this week, I'm going to ask for the fighting genre. Hi, Kitty. For the fighting people and the people who like fighting games and like that. Well, anyway, which one's better? Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter? Leave your comments down below. And this has been an episode of R&R. I am your host, DKS3A, and I'll see y'all next week. Have a good day.